Hawk stared at the photograph as if it were the final glass of whiskey before execution. Smooth, dangerous, and destined to burn. At last, a real image, no more grainy surveillance shot or pixelated glimpses through smudged glass. This one was sharp, framed with intention. Whoever sent it wanted him to see her clearly, to feel it. Alena Fuentabella. Beautiful was an insult to the word. Her face belonged to a different era, the kind of face you watched in silence on black and white film, afraid that blinking would break the spell. Pale skin like the soft underside of a wrist, sculpted cheekbones carved by aristocracy, and lips. God, those lips. Soft curves made for murmured confessions and late-night sins. This was her most recent birthday, the file said. Even in something simple, she wore elegance like perfume. Invisible, yet inescapable. Old money wasn't just in her closet, it was in her marrow. Filipino-American by birth, but with lineage tangled through continents, Mexican fire, Jewish mystique, Middle Eastern grit. Her bloodline read like a spy novel. Her Jewish grandmother traced roots to the sands of Palestine. Her mother? Straight out of the Mondego dynasty. That legendary family of ghosts, power, and untouchable scandal. She was the forbidden kind. And that made her perfect. Every agency with a death wish had one warning etched into their bones. Stay away from the Mondegos. They weren't worth the bloodbath. And yet, here he was. Hawk had danced with death enough to make it jealous. He'd been shot, burned, drowned, sliced. Once they tried to set him on fire. He still smelled smoke sometimes. But this girl, this face, this possibility, this was different. He wasn't surviving anymore. He was circling something that made him feel alive again. He traced her image with a fingertip, reverent and rough. He'd known beauty. Buried it, kissed it goodbye, wiped blood from it. But Alena's beauty was sacred and savage all at once. The kind of beauty that made you want to kneel. And those eyes, he'd seen them before. Somewhere. Was it a dream? A past life? A memory stolen from someone kinder? He couldn't tell, but they haunted him. They pulled at the chain around his instincts, stirring something ancient inside. Her file painted her a porcelain relic, raised by nuns, sculpted by silence, trained to walk lines so straight even angels flinched. Perfect, pure, breakable, and oh, how he wanted to be the one to break her. A slow grin tugged at his mouth. They weren't so different after all. She had been taught to pray. He had been trained to kill. She walked chapel aisles in pressed uniforms. He stalked blood-stained corridors with knives under his belt. But they both knew obedience. She lived as a ghost in the high circles, present only long enough to leave an impression. At galas and charity balls, she would glide in, smile for the cameras, and vanish. Social na antisocial, they called her. He called her irresistible. She wasn't just a target anymore. She was a reward. The twist in the plot. The reason his mission now had blood and heat and hunger. She had spoken to him once, smiled, trusted him, as if the universe had offered him a single taste, just to ruin him. And now she was here, in his city. She walked into his bookstore. Fate, it seemed, had a wicked sense of humor. The silver Mustang was easy to spot. What wasn't easy? The man who stepped out with her. Not a bodyguard, too smug, too clean. A boyfriend then. Temporary. Unworthy. Hawk's jaw locked. He watched Alena laugh, brush hair from her face, take the man's arm. He tasted blood. His own. Restraint had always been his sharpest weapon. But this was different. Possession flared. Inside the bookstore, he didn't need maps. He could feel her. She was always sunlight, but in that moment, in that dress, with that hair, with that scent, she was pure fire. Yellow silk clinging to the curve of her hips. Cardigan slipping down one shoulder, fingers tracing spines of romance novels like they might bite her. He didn't touch her. Not yet. But when their eyes met across the shelves, time folded in half. The book slipped from her hand.
You.
She breathed. He smiled. Slow. Deliberate. She asked if it was a coincidence. He said, both. He stepped into her space and the air thickened. Her back pressed to the shelf, his palms caging her in. I saw you walk in, he whispered, voice all gravel and silk. With your boyfriend. She flinched. It doesn't matter, Alena. His fingers didn't touch her, but they were there, in her thoughts, on her skin, in the pulse at her throat. You belong to me.
Hindi maintindihan ni Alena kung saan nakahugot ng lakas ang mga binti niya, kaya kaagad siyang nakalayo sa lalaking pangahas. Alena's heels clacked against the tile with unapologetic rhythm, each echo ringing louder than her guilt. In the monastery, sound was sacred, whispers guarded, footsteps muted. But here, it was just her, this aisle, and the wild, wicked cadence of a girl whose conscience had just lost a battle. She ducked behind a bookshelf, chest rising and falling like she had just run from sin in its most seductive form. Her heart pounded, reckless, each beat a prayer and a dare. Lord, sorry po sa mga impure thoughts ko, she whispered upward, as if the bookstore ceiling still had a direct line to heaven. Reflex, habit, desperation. And what were these impure thoughts? That man, those arms, that untamed hair, that devil-may-care smirk that looked like it came with a warning label and a syntax. He was everything she should avoid. And yet, buti na lang di niya ako sinundan, she murmured, clutching her chest like she could hold in the ache. But why did disappointment taste like desire? Every time she promised herself he was just a fluke, just a dream, he appeared again, like temptation with perfect timing. Stalking is a crime, huh? She muttered to no one, gripping the shelf. The only law she truly remembered was the one engraved on stone tablets. This question mark. This was carved into her nerves. She didn't fear him. No, not fear. It was that dangerous, trembling feeling of standing too close to fire and deciding not to move. And then, his voice.
You know I won't hurt you, Alena.
Her name on his lips was a confession, a curse, a promise. She flinched, as if the syllables themselves could sin. She parted the books, instinct guiding her. And there he was, leaning, lounging, daring. His smile was a weapon wrapped in velvet. His pose, all paperback fantasy, all hunger just barely caged. He held a book like it mattered. It didn't. His eyes were already reading her. I know, she whispered, voice trembling, reverent. The kind of softness reserved for altars. He noticed nothing but her. Other girls gawked. He didn't blink. His gaze was locked, ravenous.
What? Given up already, princess?
He asked, the words sliding over her like silk sheets soaked in sin. Hindi no, she snapped, too fast, too flustered. Then he faced her fully, and she forgot the taste of air. Storm in his eyes. Heat in every line of his body. Wildness tied back in a lazy knot. She could feel the restraint, tight, dangerous, thin as a match strike. You're following me, she accused, voice higher than she intended.
Me? Following you?
That grin. That damn grin.
Who's hiding behind shelves now?
May bahay ako, she shot back, lifting her chin. Alam mong nasundan mo ako dito. Huwag ka nang magpanggap. He laughed, low, dark, indulgent.
Of course I know where you live.
He said. Then his voice dropped, deeper than sin.
Would you let me take you home?
Home? What did that even mean to her? A monastery? A mansion that never felt like hers? Or this moment, heat, danger, and honesty between stacks of paper and yearning? He stepped around the shelf, and suddenly, nothing stood between them. Her thoughts screamed run, but her feet, traitorous, trembling, stayed.
Would you say yes if I asked you out?
She bit her lip, a move so reflexive it felt like instinct. Monastery girls weren't trained for this. She was thirst wrapped in denial, and she didn't even know it. He came closer. So close she could feel the warmth radiating from him. That scent, cedar, an invitation. And when his fingers brushed hers, it was electricity. Not pain, but permission. Not fear, but friction. Bible study had never prepared her for this. This wasn't a test. This wasn't theory. This was raw, messy, aching reality. And she didn't want to run. He tilted his head, a smirk barely curling his mouth.
See? Now you know.
Hindi naman sa ganon.
I miss you.
The words hit like thunder dressed in silk. She gasped, her knees betrayed her. And when he stepped around the shelf, nothing about the world felt safe anymore. He stood so close, her senses swam. His scent, his heat, the tremble in her chest. Her head tilted, her lips parted. His fingers found hers, and all she could do was fall.
She had beautiful hazel eyes, fringed with lashes so thick they cast shadows over her flushed cheeks. Her lips trembled, kiss pink, still swollen from his claim, and Hawk felt it everywhere. In his chest, his blood, his groin. Whatever it was, fear, guilt, or that raw, unspoken craving she wouldn't dare name aloud, it didn't matter, as long as she trembled for him. He moved closer, deliberate and dark, his presence crawling over her skin like sin with a heartbeat. He could see her pulse jumping in her throat, could feel the heat radiating from her body in waves. Easy, baby girl, he purred, voice rough and reverent, like gravel scraping over want. Her breath hitched. Innocent, sweet Alena, all wide eyes and trembling hands. But then her gaze dropped to his mouth. And that was the end of her innocence, because that look was consent. He kissed her like he owned her, like he'd been waiting too long to take what was his. His mouth devoured her slowly, tongue deep, lips coaxing, commanding. She tasted like cherry in panic, like surrender. She whimpered when he sucked her bottom lip between his teeth, and the sound nearly undid him. She kissed him back, hesitant, tender. Then suddenly, hungry. Her body arched into his as his hand dragged down her spine and found the round, perfect curve of her ass. She gasped into his mouth, and there she was. Not the girl the world protected, the woman who wanted to be ruined. See? He growled against her lips, hips pressing just enough for her to feel the full, hard truth of what she was doing to him. You're bad at pretending, baby. Her hands fisted into a shirt like she needed him to keep her from falling or make her fall harder. Either way, he'd give her what she asked for. Hell, he'd give her more. He wedged a thigh between hers, feeling the heat of her through her thin little skirt. Her breath caught. Her knees weakened. She was soaked. She was his. So fucking soft. He wanted her undone, spread wide, pink and panting, whispering his name like it was the only prayer she knew. Relax, he murmured, licking into her mouth again. No one's watching. A lie. The The boyfriend was just around the corner, flipping through pages like a fool, probably thinking Alena was too sweet to get fingered between hardcovers. Idiot. Her finger shook against his chest.
No.
Shh. Another kiss. Slower this time, deeper, like a warning before the fall. She blushed, bright and furious, right there between shelves and fantasy. His good girl, now smeared with want. Alena? The boyfriend. She flinched, stepped back, eyes wide and mouth still red from his. Her blouse clung to her nipples, still stiff with arousal. Her breath, ragged. Her eyes betrayed her completely. She looked like she'd just been kissed within an inch of decency. She stumbled toward Ryan with a mumbled excuse, already unraveling. Hawk didn't follow. He leaned against the shelf and licked her taste from his lips, watching her go. Liar. She found exactly what she wanted, and he hadn't even started. She looked back once, just once, eyes hungry, torn, shining with guilt and something far darker. He gave her a slow, sinful smile. Later, baby. She wasn't married yet. After all, she wasn't married yet, and Hawk always played with his food.